All right, let's talk about a term you've probably heard thrown around a lot: growth hacking. It kind of sounds like some secret magic trick, right? A shortcut to instant success. But the real story, well, it's actually way more interesting. It's a story about data, about discipline, and about testing things relentlessly. And there's no better way to get it than to look at the OG of growth hacking, Dropbox. So picture this: it's 2008. Dropbox has this fantastic product for storing your files online, but they've totally hit a wall. They're this tiny little startup with just over $1 million in funding, and they're going up against established players who have a war chest of nearly $50 million. And, as if that wasn't bad enough, you've got giants like Google and Microsoft getting ready to jump into the exact same space. So you have to ask yourself, how on earth does a small company with pretty much zero marketing budget even begin to compete? I mean, throwing money at traditional ads was a non-starter. It was way too expensive, and the few times they tried, it just didn't work. They were stuck. They needed a totally different way to grow. And the answer, as you probably guessed, is what we now call growth hacking. But I want you to look really closely at this definition. Notice what it doesn't say. There's no mention of magic or secret formulas. It's a disciplined, scientific process. That's the key. It's all about breaking down the walls between marketing, product, and engineering, and getting them all in a room to run tests really fast to find out what actually moves the needle. Okay, so we gotta bust a huge myth right now. The media loves to tell these epic stories about that one legendary growth hack, like Airbnb's big move or the Dropbox story we're talking about. And it makes it feel like all it takes is one single brilliant idea, one silver bullet that changes everything. But the reality? Nah. Sustainable growth is almost never about one big home run. It's about the steady accumulation of a bunch of small wins. A much better way to think about it is like compounding interest. Every little successful experiment adds to the last one, and over time, that creates this powerful, accelerating momentum. But here's the thing, and this is the absolute non-negotiable part of all of this. You can't growth hack a product that people don't want. It just doesn't work. All the clever experiments in the world won't save you if you haven't first built something that a core group of users finds absolutely indispensable. That is the bedrock you build everything on. And the secret to a product people love is creating what's called the aha moment. This is that little spark, that light bulb moment in the user's journey where the real value of your product just clicks. It's when someone goes from, "I'm trying this thing out," to, "Oh, I get it, I need this." This quote from Uber's co-founder, it nails the aha moment perfectly. It's not about the features on the screen. It's about the feeling. That first time you effortlessly got a car to show up without having to call a dispatcher or stand on a corner waving your arm, that's the moment. That's the feeling of power. That's the experience that makes you run and tell your friends. Okay, but feeling is a little vague, right? So how do you actually know if you've done it? How do you measure an aha moment? Well, turns out there's a key number that growth teams use as their North Star, and that number is 40%. So here's where that 40% comes from. You ask your current users a dead simple question. How would you feel if you could no longer use this product? If at least 40% of them answer very disappointed, then congratulations, you've probably built a must-have product. And when Dropbox ran this exact survey, they blew way past that 40% mark. They knew they had something special. So you've got your must-have product. Awesome. Now what? How do you grow it systematically? This is where the real engine of growth kicks in, this high-speed testing cycle. It's not random. It's a continuous loop. You dig into your data to find an insight. You brainstorm a bunch of ideas based on that insight. You ruthlessly prioritize the best ones, and then you test them. And whatever you learn feeds right back into the beginning of the cycle. So let's bring it back to Dropbox. For step one, they dug into their data and they found an absolute gold mine. A full 1/3 of all their signups were already coming from referrals, just people telling their friends. Think about that. Their users loved the product so much, they were already doing the marketing for them, completely unprompted. That one insight sparked the big idea for step two. The team thought, wait a minute, instead of spending money we don't have on ads, what if we just pour gasoline on this fire that's already burning? And their solution was just brilliant, a double-sided referral program. You refer a friend, you both get extra storage space. The reward wasn't a t-shirt or a discount, it was more of the product itself. And the results were just insane. We're talking a 60% permanent increase in signups. They went from 100,000 users to 4 million in just 14 months. By early 2010, their own customers were sending out almost 3 million invites every single month. And the price tag for all this incredible growth? A big fat zero in traditional marketing spend. It was a perfect self-fueling growth engine. But look, a good growth team has a ton of ideas. So how do you decide what to test first? That's step 3, prioritization. A lot of teams use a simple framework called an ICE score. For every idea, you rate its potential impact, your confidence it'll work, and how easy it is to build. So huge homepage redesign might have big impact, but if it's super hard and you're not sure it'll work, it scores low. The referral program? It hit that sweet spot of high impact, high confidence, and being pretty easy to implement. It was the clear winner. It's all about making smart bets.
And this whole approach isn't just a Dropbox thing. Take Airbnb. In their early days, the founders were so incredibly broke that during the 2008 election, they literally designed and sold their own politically themed breakfast cereals, Obama O's and Captain McCain's, just to pay the bills. They were desperate to get anyone to notice their website.
So what was their hack? It's now legendary. They built this clever, kind of sneaky integration that let their hosts cross-post their Airbnb listings onto Craigslist with a single click. Now, why was that so genius? Because Craigslist already had a massive audience of people looking for places to stay. In one move, Airbnb put their product right in front of millions of potential customers for free. It was an absolute game changer. So when you boil it all down, what these stories really show is that real growth isn't a one-time event. It's not a launch campaign. It's a mindset. It's a system. The real goal is to build this virtuous cycle of learning and improving right into the very DNA of the company. It's a process that just never stops. So I want to leave you with one final thought. Every single company has what growth hackers call lore. You know what I mean? Those deeply held beliefs, the "we've always done it this way" stories about what customers want or what will never work. The entire process we've just walked through is about one thing: challenging that lore with actual data. So the question for you is, what's the unquestioned lore in your world? And what assumptions might be holding back your growth right now?